On this episode of Creators Corners, we have with us Dartanian from Metaverse Gaming, formerly known as Moscato Gaming. Back in the fall, they kind of hit the scenes, being a little bit rowdier than most, but providing some very high level entertainment. You know, doing 8 hours a day streaming. On the days that they did stream, racing, helping people with horse reviews, really diving into some of the tools and showing the community how to use them. Um, we kind of go into a lot of things about transitioning into a more serious, purposeful driven route, you can say, with the transition to metaverse gaming, expanding the team. And, they do have a team that's growing. We're only talking to Dartanian in this episode, but I look forward to be able to get everybody in. And it's really interesting to hear how we got from, the Naruto gaming crazy nights to where we are today. So, hope you enjoy. All right, so today on Creators Corners, we have Dartanian from Metaverse Gaming. Most of us knew him first from Naruto Gaming. It's a pleasure to have you on, man.
Hey, pleasure to be here. I'm very excited.
So I think a lot of us who currently know you from the good old days of Naruto Racing and kind of the live streaming, uh, not always getting rowdy, but definitely high excitement racing that was going on with, Jet Glue and Elton John and a lot of the horses that we kind of knew back in the day. And then there's been a huge transition into building up this more mature, really focused brand. But not a lot of us kind of know what happened before Zed Run. So how does D'Artagnan get to where we are today?
Sure. Shoot. Well, I don't want to say this officially, but I was in Bitcoin back in the days where you could spend it in 2012 somewhere. That's all I'll put it there. Um, Went to college, wanted to start a Bitcoin mining house with my college roommate. Didn't go through, couldn't get an investment. People didn't see the value of it. Sold out of Bitcoin probably 2014 timeframe. Came back into crypto 2017. Sat there with about 11,000 bucks looking at ETH super cheap. And I was like, man, I can buy ETH or I can go to Australia for a trip. Went to Australia. Um, Definitely kept in the back of my mind because I believe in the ethos behind blockchain technology. And I believe in the privacy that's coming out currently with newer blockchains as well. But came back in 2020, January timeframe, got back into DeFi, started doing a little bit of DeFi with some ETH, started looking at other blockchains like, Cardano, for example, some of the white papers on some of the newer things that were coming out and what was being developed in the DeFi space. And 2021 hit, I was just passively in DeFi and I ran across, I found OpenSea. It sounds so funny that I just found OpenSea in like January, February timeframe. And then the volume trade of these like crystalline ponies was just pumping. I was like, man, look at these things. What is this? I clicked on the pony, says goes to Zed Run. I go there. I watch one race. I buy two horses that night. I bought D's Nuts because I thought it was a hilarious name. And I had ETH to spare. I didn't care. It was like zero point 0.4 ETH or something like that. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is a meme. I'm going to put a video of this on Instagram. And hella people responded. And I was like, okay. I bought Miami to Ibiza and I put the song on and was dancing. And I called Brandino, as you guys know, from Metaverse Gaming. I was like, hey, man, like, check this out. And so Brandino and I started looking at Zed hard about March, April timeframe. I don't know what happened with the drops. They're just super scuffed for us. We didn't get the internal links that I know some people got, and they were like going and buying the ponies. And we ended up buying a Z3 Genesis Zabo. Bored Apes were happening, CryptoPunks were happening. We were both on those trends as well. And then, we also saw like, Genesis Kongs and other NFTs. And NFTs really started to pump in May at the same time where ETH was kind of like peaking out at $4,000. And so we're just making loads of money in DeFi and whatever else. But we ended up going with Zed because we were like, oh, all these PFPs have no utility. What's really worth something is racing a pony because it's fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, that sort of sparked our Zed journey. And we didn't know there was such thing as Twitter. Um, I never used Twitter before. I hopped on Twitter, I think in August, and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of people doing Zed on here. And found Twitch, found MJ, started to learn from his MJ Informatics stuff. And then I was like, man, like Remy, my roommate, you guys all know Remy as well. He was like, bro, like you and Brendan just talk about Zed horses all day, all night. Just put on a camera and stream. And I was like, okay. And we get drunk when we do it, so it's fun. It's an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we started turning on the streams and going with it. Me, Brandino, and Remy, and it's kind of been that ever since.
And there for a while, it was like literally all day, every day. Like you guys had to be streaming like what, 12 plus hours easy?
Yeah, we were doing we did streams like 8 hour sessions. We did some 8 hour sessions. We did a half day sesh. There's 4 people watching us, 6 people watching us, 8 people watching us. But as more people kept watching us and we started to tweet, we were like, yeah, we should make a brand, Naruto Racing, and made a brand, and that kind of took off a little bit. Started hitting the 20, 30 numbers on our streams. We're coordinating with Sean versus All and with MJ in the background, talking with Pony Plug, just getting to know the whole community as well. Dan Shane pops in. There's a lot of people in there. We start talking, a little bit with Arbitrage, just kind of learning from them, watching what they're doing. And yeah, we started just go full Zed community. I think September is when we kind of were like, this is real. Like we should probably put our eggs in a basket and start to organize what we're doing. And actually, MJ was the guy who was like, hey, do you guys have any coordination? And we're like, no. We just go live and we get drunk and we talk about horses and their butts and how they run. Like that's
Yeah.
all we were doing at that time. And Sean actually was the one like, dude, you should make Smoke Show, because like we were just we're just racing, man. We're just having fun, and we're having races. We're dueling people live and talking shit and having fun. And Sean was like, dude, make that into actual content. And so we came out with our first Smoke Show, I think. We did a Sean versus All collab where he vomited on stream. Um,
Yep, I remember.
Naruto versus All, I think it was like October 3rd or 4th or something like that.
That was a long day
Legendary.
for all of us.
Oh yeah, legendary stream, and I'm so happy though that people who watch us also are partaking in some beverages and having fun. And if they are sober, that's fine. They're just talking crap in the chat and they're having a good time with us. I think we really enjoy that, and that's why we stayed with Zed through the ups and downs. Even though we were the first people to call them out for the algorithm change, and we got a lot of flack for that. Um, but yeah, it was definitely amazing. Kind of transition from DeFi, which by the way is very lonely and it's very alone. You're just silent. Like there's no one you're talking to. There's no real community there. So I think NFTs really brought in this Web3 aspect of community, and that's what we found with Zed Run, and we're very happy about it.
Yeah, and I know I was like I was kind of skeptical of your guys' stream just because of the way you guys were kind of. It seemed like almost every stream turned into a drinking event. But at the same time, like looking back at it now, like that's where you were in your guys' story, right? Like,
Yeah,
that still might be a part of your guys' story, right? Like that's what you enjoyed doing at the time. And I think there's something really. I guess the only word I can really think about is like authentic and brave, right? Like there's a lot of people who probably do that kind of stuff while they're playing Zed, but they don't want to talk about it because they're shamed or they don't want the community to know what they're like, you know, when they're at home racing their horses or when they're just chilling with their friends. But you guys were like, fuck it, like we're just gonna be ourselves, and
yeah,
you either come or you don't.
yeah,
So I think there was mixed perceptions, but at the end of the day, I think it's gonna age well, and I think it's cool that people got to see that part of your story that early, right?
absolutely. I
So
think
I know I appreciate it definitely in retrospect more than probably I did in the beginning.
yeah, I mean, like, I think though, and I'm not saying people copied us, but I think that people, if you look at someone's very authentic, look at Taco, right? And, when it comes to like DJ and having fun and being very personable on the stream, like Taco is a person that I was like, wow, that's very like us when we started streaming Zed. It's very enticing. It's very entertaining. And you're just yourself, and he talks very openly about the fact that he's like, dude, like this is my passion. I love this. I love this community, and like this is what I like to do with my time. And like
Yeah.
that's when you create content, and like we're not content creators. I guess now we sort of do create content, but like there was no real like plan and prep and like let's like let's go into this and talk about like, okay, we're gonna hit these things. We tried one coordinated stream and it ended up with us getting blackout drunk and not coordinated at all. So we're like, no flow is best for us. Um, but we did get a little more tight. I mean, if you saw the Moscato Cup,
Yeah.
there's a lot more hit times. 400 live races were going on throughout that month for that Moscato Cup. Big prize pools that was generated from sponsors in the community, and that was not given from Zed. And I think that was the first ever live tournament in crypto to be put on, and very happy about it. Very good with the outcome. But from putting on the Moscato Cup and then starting Smoke Show and trying to be more coordinated starting October, it took our sponsors. I told them like we needed a good like 12 Smoke Show sessions to get this down, because this is a very hard thing to do without party mode, without customized races. Like I don't want people entering races and they're not getting seen on stream. I want 10 average, people in a race to count it. And so to get that flow and to train, and also you have to train an audience, right? I'm not in a bad way, but you have to teach an audience how to interact with the stream. So that we're able to coordinate properly and put out a good product that everyone wants to participate in. And that's something that we learned as we were growing, and we did do an official shift to Metaverse gaming away from Naruto racing November. But there was a lot of planning and preparation that goes into that, and also some partnerships that we went into professionally to get after people that we think are like us and that cover areas that maybe we don't have the best strong suit in, because we have tried tutorials and teaching videos and teaching streams, and they're good and decent, but the best person at it is legitimately MJ, and YouTube wise for teaching is probably going to go to Zed Chateau. So getting MJ to join the MVG team and be a part of us is probably one of our best things we've ever done as a company.
Now, for those who don't know about the Moscato Cup, that was a pretty iconic moment. People are going to be watching this in the future too. Can you break down exactly what it was and kind of what that went into that?
Yeah. So Moscato Cup idea, it first was born from Alhambra and PK about October 20th timeline. And he said, hey, let's put on an event. I'm going to put up the prize money and let's like do a tournament. And like, what he was getting out of it was that he's trying to help establish the space, but as well, he's trying to find some really good small stables to become jockeys for the art team, the Alhambra racing team. And so really good way to scout good talent that might not have the money is to look at how our smoke shows go and look at how people are analyzing different races. So spent about 2.5 months planning it. Moscato Cup was an open tournament. Anybody could join. There was no money you had to pay except for the entrance fees to the races. So we didn't charge anybody to participate in our tournament. Our prize pools we gave about $9,000 away. We gave away about 17, 18 horses. An average leg Finney was the average horse. A couple Zabos were given away as well. We had Dan Shin come on with the blood tool, and he was giving away some nice blood tool horses with some high blood numbers for prizes. And then we had in the back end, Pony Plug was giving new stable owners their horses, new stable owners who've never seen Zed before, but we're streaming it on the crypto channel. We're getting new people in, and we're basically onboarding them as well with new horses and having them participate. And then the last sponsor was Silver Knight PCs, and they actually gave away, previous in December, they gave away a keyboard and a mouse, super sleek stuff, like the RBG keyboard and like a great mouse. It was like $200-300 worth of stuff. And they gave that away in December. So they came on in January and gave away a PC, and Mango Ice actually won it. And custom design on the side, everything like that, real sleek, everything you need for a PC, custom built. But the Moscato Cup was basically, you have 7 rounds, and you can only enter a horse 1 round. So we go from classes 3 to 5 racing, and we say, hey, look, class 3 to 5, we're going to populate 10 races. We had to end up going to 12 races per round because we had 130 plus people live trying to enter a race. So what we did is we're basically like, hey, look, you put 1 horse in each round. If you win, you get a point. If you lose, you get nothing. Only winners get points. And if there's a person who's a random person from the community that isn't signed up on our registration, They just won the race and they weren't actually a part of the registration. We go to the second place person, and that person would get the point, and etc. And so we went out 7 rounds. At the end of the 7th round, if we had any ties for first, second, or third, we did head to heads. And then those people basically podiumed, and then they got locked into the grand finals. And then those grand finals ran on the 4th week, so we had 3 weeks of qualification. You didn't have a good week, this week, come back next week type of thing. And it also helped with our flow time because our first stream was 5 hours, which is a lot for someone to want to participate in a tournament. Let's be real.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Right? Souls Vanish, I think, swept the first week, which you would assume, Souls Vanish is probably going to sweep if he's part of the tournament. And then the second and third week went through. And the crazy thing about it, though, is that Mango Ice had to win in the 3rd week in a play-in head-to-head. He was tied for 3rd place, and he had to go head-to-head against 3 people. So he was the last person to qualify for the grand finals, and he won the whole thing.
Wow.
Which is a crazy thing. Like, he played 3 weeks in a row. In the 3rd week, he's the last person head-to-heading for 3rd place just to qualify for the grand finals, and then he wins the grand finals. Not close, by the way. I think he had four dubs of the 9 races.
Yeah.
So very dominant.
I think that's probably too one of the big things in Zed, is we hear the huge stables, all the Nakamoto's, Aba owners who've been around since that, we'll say it June or earlier time, because that's probably when the majority of them came about. And we recognize some of these big names, and we kind of put them in the big stable classification because we see them win maybe more often than not. But I think we don't really grasp how small some of these quote unquote bigger stables are, or exactly how they got to where they are. Especially some of these, grinding racing stables like a Mango Ice or some of the other ones that are really well known in the community now. Like, they're still small stables as far as like how they started and how they got to where they're at.
Exactly. There's a lot of them.
And like, I think events, like that one, the daily tournaments, it's kind of hit or miss, but and a lot of the other things that the community has done to allow, just everyday people who didn't come in with, double-digit ETH budgets to exponentially grow their stable through opportunity like that. I think it's very misunderstood. Because I think now, a lot of people be like, oh yeah, Mango Ice, that's a big stable. And
yeah,
especially back then, it's not even close.
I knew Mango Ice. I personally didn't think he was going to be a contender in the top 9 at the end. And he put it through. And actually, I think he was running for the Lucky Jack's Jockey Club. And I think he put a bounty as well. I think he also won like 0.1 ETH just for winning on top of it from Lucky Jack. He put a bounty out on the tournament, was like, whoever wins this tournament, gets 0.1, represent the Jockey Club. Because I think that Powder Jack is the horse. If I have to think, I think it's Powder Jack was the horse that took just 2 dominant dubs. And that's definitely an LJ stable horse. But, Mango was also running his own horses as well. So
yeah,
definitely a universe out there and a world that's being created in Zed for jockeys. And I know I don't want to step on the Zed team's toes here and give out some alpha, but I do think that they will be developing some sort of jockey function in the future for Zed Run, so that this can be done, permissionless and still be secured via blockchain.
Well, I know, based on some of the discussion in general and the roadmap, that the goal is to launch their jockey program with the Genesis horses that they're retaining first to test it, and then release it to the public. I've actually had some talk with some people that they believe that there's actually a way to do it independent from Zed, creating some sort of trustless exchange program. It's just really complicated, and I don't know if anybody's actually capable of writing the contracts without being able to tap into Zed Run directly. But it's definitely going to be huge here in the future.
I think Al Hambrin's working on something like that right now with his syndicate that he has. To do like some sort of like permissionless DAO function, right? Decentralized autonomous organization function behind, jockeying and, owning horses at like a percent. So like I can own 20% of Ducky Malin, for example, or whatever other horses out there. And there's a way to show shared ownership with the token of the DAO or this specific token minted behind Ducky Melon or whatever horse, Hendrix Houdini.
Yeah.
And that's something that people can do on the outside, but definitely the Zed Run team needs to be looking at how can we do permissionless, not just lending, but permissionless jockeying, that like you don't have to, the money doesn't all go to the person who owns the horse, which is like, for example, Lucky Jack. It goes 30% to the jockey, 70% of the winnings to Lucky Jack, and then he can focus on his breeding algorithm and putting out better horses in his sales. Because at the end of the day, when this becomes as large as I think this is going to go, we're going to be having people with thousands of horses, and there's going to be some incentive for burning horses for Des token, or whatever else, some advantages towards breeding perhaps, but there's definitely going to be a large stables out there with 300 plus horses, and I have 100, and I can't even go through my horses to be like, how does this one race now? Like I can't wait to burn them. Like
Yeah.
I'm not selling them for $20 or $40, like floor value. But yeah, definitely some interesting stuff that's getting produced right now.
So what you guys haven't been streaming as much, but there's definitely things going on. Like you guys are present. You're just not present in the way that everyone's used to. Are you able to talk about what's been going on the last month or so
Yeah.
that you guys have been kind of working in the shadows?
Yeah, so we have a lot of games reaching out to us right now, through either MJ and directly to us, whatever else, and we're right now acquiring some assets in new games. We're preparing for new launches, and we helped with Sean versus All came on a stream 22nd or 3rd of February. We did like a joint stream for the Taunt launch. We were content creators for the Taunt team, Taunt Battle World. We also have been working with in the background with some other new games that are coming out, talking with them. MJ does a lot of the teaching videos and like covering the white paper of these games. But we're also involved with talking, getting a part of the community, learning about those games. And I can't officially say what we're going to be part of that I'm working on right now, but we'll be producing something pretty big in the next couple of days that our name might not be attached to, but we've been working in the background, putting in a lot of man hours, helping develop the content behind it, for this new game's launch. And there's that. I have a call after this with a token and a team with a like a AAA game designer who wants to develop a game in the metaverse, and we're gonna see where that goes, and help them and see if there's any place for us to come on as advisors, or start to build around building a presence for that team in this space. And we've been doing a lot of private contracting and things like that, but there's a lot that's going to be coming out. We have a stream tomorrow. I think we're going to do a smoke show, our first one since I don't know, like 3 weeks ago. So we'll be present on there, and we do have a schedule. I'll say this: we have the Red Village scheduled on, I believe, Thursdays. We're gonna be doing Riot Racer streams on Tuesdays. We're gonna be keep our Zed stream on Wednesdays. But there's gonna be a lot of stuff that we're involved in, business-wise, with onboarding and to directing people towards Zed Run and these other games. And we'll be releasing more of an official schedule as there's more games that come out. But we're definitely positioned right now to be active in the metaverse, not just Zed Run, for gaming.
Now, is that kind of the idea when you guys decided to rebrand, was to kind of be an onboarding ecosystem per se for games that you guys deem quality, things that you kind of pre-vetted, to where if you guys are saying, hey, we're going to help you guys get involved, you guys have already kind of done the research and your diligence?
Yeah, I mean, I was on a call today with the Zed Run team, and I gave an example. I said, hey, look, in college, when you're a teacher's aide, the professor teaches the teacher's aides who's helping with the overall game, right? And MJ is sort of like is sort of like our professor in some of these things. He gets after a lot of the projects early on, reads the white papers, gets involved with the team, comes and teaches us about it. Sometimes we go out to the same thing and then teach the rest of the guys about it. So like we definitely teach ourselves internally. We vet it. We vote on if we want to get involved in these programs and these games, and then we buy the assets and we start to develop what we think we can do in terms of content, what we can do to position ourselves to be able to stream and have fun with those games. And that's we definitely do I wouldn't say procure, but filter what we think will be a quality game, and then work with the team. And we ask a lot of questions with these teams, and we kind of are like, hey, look, we had a lot of time in Zed Run. Here's a lot of the problems they went through. Here's a lot of things they did correctly, and here's what the community's responses were on these things. And we kind of help these individuals understand how a community. Cause it's really easy to build a game. Not easy, but it's a whole different thing to have a game and then a functioning community behind a game. And I think Zed Run people feel that viscerally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I don't know if it wasn't for the community, the content creators, the tool creators, if Zed Run even was remotely as big and significant as it is today. Because, what made it really playable for anybody who wasn't super early was the tools and the content creators kind of guiding you through. Even if philosophy's changed over time, it was still helped you get through the process of analyzing something, right?
Exactly. And it's something that we're communicating with the Zed Run team. And we have weekly chats with content creators with the Zed Run team that, we're going over some official comms stuff, and we're giving the community sentiment, and we're helping, bridge that gap between the team and the community through official comms and trying to build out content behind there. But absolutely, if you played, they nerfed Jet Glue. Jet Glue is probably the top 100 horses in the game at his distance, probably actually top like 30 at his distance. And when the nerf came out and they changed the algorithm, made more consistency, less variance for some of these spiker horses like Jet. The only thing that kept us going in the game was community and having fun, because I'm no longer making $1,500 a week racing in $25 races.
Yeah.
But I stayed because of the community, and we stayed because it's fun, and we see where this game's going to go. And there's hiccups along the route, but as long as you understand the game, you like the community, and you're having fun, you can stick around. But I definitely think the content creators have been the reason why even the numbers of average users is quite high every day. And that's that. I think that completely goes towards content creation. And if we leave, you're losing 2 to 3,000 people over time who are keeping the ecosystem alive and keeping the name of Zed Run out there. It's very important that the Zed Run team works with content creators, and there's official comms and actual stuff coming out that we're abreast to. Maybe not a weeks in advance, but definitely with some sort of lead time, so that we can help adjust and teach the community what's happening.
Now, what kind of questions or things do you look for as your primary first filtering process when looking at a new project?
So I look for a doxed team. Um, and I know there's different opinions in the NFT space, doxed versus undoxed. I look for a doxed team. We go
Now,
through.
what do you qualify as docs? Because there's a few definitions, and some teams that say they are not even remotely.
Yeah, I mean, if I can't find you on Twitter and I can't find you on LinkedIn, or I can't find any of your actual experience in the space, then I don't think you're doxed. I think you're fake. Um, so we definitely go for doxed. We look at, is this person qualified to create a game? Is this person qualified to have they've been in NFTs? Do they understand DeFi? Do they understand some of the particular aspects of Web3 that are important? Because if you don't understand tokenomics, right, and then you build a token, you're going to launch to an ecosystem like a Zed token, for example, right, and you have no idea about DeFi and what your token can do. It's just a representative share of whatever to participate in one thing in your community.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding. No, I personally will not believe in your project, and a lot of these projects, if they have those gaps, right, there are individuals out there. Like I myself have been working on some tokens as well, but there's definitely people out there that we can be like, hey, I don't have time for this, but look at ZG, look at this person, and we plug them with individuals to help advise them. If they're against advisement, then I think that we kind of stop in the tracks right there. They don't have to hire us, but they have to hire somebody, who can fill that gap. And we look for that in all aspects first, and then we go after the concept in the white paper. Does the white paper make sense? Are they asking too much for a mint? If I'm going to play a gnome game with a bunch of gnomes who go around and garden, I'm probably not going to pay 0.3 ETH for it. That makes no sense to play with the garden gnome.
Yeah.
just to be honest. If that's $40, all right, well, that makes kind of sense. I think there's levels to it, and does the white paper, does it plan out? Is there a roadmap? Are these people capable of executing the roadmap? Are they hitting their timelines? If you look at Riot Racer, for example, one of the things that made us very keen to that team was they hit their roadmap every single step of the way. And the only thing I think they sort of fumbled on in terms of like 3 weeks was the paid beta, to pay race, right? And like there's a lot of moving aspects to paying and racing, earning money. So that's something that I'm like, yeah, I mean, fumbling on that for 3 weeks or whatever, I can understand that, because that's a very complex thing to just put out a year ago and then hit. There's a lot of moving aspects to it.
No, that's fair. Is there anything that somebody who doesn't have access to the team can kind of look for, either in a Discord server or when they're combing white papers or anything? Just kind of like someone kind of new to NFTs looking for a project to get involved in, maybe looking for something early that they can kind of, other than the Ducks team, is there anything low Web3 IQ, I guess you could say, that kind of stands out to you?
I think a lot of the time when I'm doing some of the, thank you, goodbye. All right, sorry.
No, you're good.
So I think when you're looking at some of the crud, I mean, I look at Twitter. I look at different Discords. So MetaKey is a great Discord. I go and I'm in Sean versus All's Discord. They talk about a lot of different projects in there. MJ talks about a lot of different projects, but I definitely think if you're new to NFTs and you're new to the space of gaming, look at some of these Discords like MJ. Sangudo has a great guide for everything Zed, for example, if you want to learn more about Zed. There are people out there in the Twitter spaces that I think are good. Alex Becker is a great person for YouTube and DeFi. His projects kind of blow up pretty fast, unfortunately, when he kind of announces them. But I think if you want to get early to NFTs, you're still early, but it's mostly Twitter. I usually use Twitter, I use Discords, and then I have internal groups that talk about stuff.
To kind of see who else is talking about it and who else is curious and in the conversation before
exactly,
taking a swing on your own.
I think Defiant, they do more DeFi though. Defiant is like a newsletter / like whole media page that talks a lot about like new NFT things or mostly just new DeFi tokens. I go there sometimes, but mostly right now I have an internally echo chamber basically of people who are talking about new stuff all the time, and Twitter is really where you want to be. And MVG's Discord, we'll drop new project that we're a part of when we're like, hey, like this is something new, and if we're getting involved in something, this is something to look out for with Metaverse gaming, is like this thing isn't launching like tomorrow, you know. We're going to be putting out some comms weeks ahead of time and talking about stuff that has yet to have any playable content, that might have its first mint, but there's multiple different mints going on that we've vetted, and we're like, hey, this is a pretty decent project. We just announced Taunt Battle World, and we were working with the CEO and their whole team for 3 weeks before we even put our name near Taunt. They didn't mint out, and it's still a great team. They have funding for the next 2 years. They have legit game designers, and their marketing just wasn't where it needed to be, which is okay. They're kind of like a secret project, right? But they have everything to make a game, and I've seen the playable game content, and it looks pretty dope, and it's a great concept, and it's engaged to earn. So there's even projects out there that haven't minted out that have real fucking teams behind them that are still very, very solid projects that we're going to have a future, that are going to be playable and fun. So I think those are sort of some little P's and Q's about metaverse gaming and things you can look for with us and MJ, and even a lot more of the content creators. I know that it's not just us in other games. I've seen Zed Chateau in other games. Zook is in a couple other games. There's a lot of other content creators out there who are getting involved in not just Bot Lady, for example, as well, and other newer games that are coming out. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like half of my success in Zed was getting into other projects early, going off of people that I had outstanding relationships with when I first got into Web3, kind of trusting their opinions because I saw a track record from them, and then getting in on projects early and being able to sell that to buy horses. So once again, it all comes back to community, right?
Exactly. It really
Not
is.
doing this alone.
It really is about community. I mean, the thing is that we're going digital. Humanity is going digital fully in the next 10, 20 years. Everything will be digital. Everything will be tracked, sensors, whatever else. And so there's been an extension through Instagram, probably first MySpace then Facebook, then we have Instagram come out, that people project these sort of different realities of themselves into that space, right? And when Plato talks about it, there's materia and then there's this like second self, right? This is like the ideal self. And so when you're in the natural world, you present your ideal self sometimes, but you're really interacting with materia, which is the modern world, like this table, these things, right? This is the modern world. What the digital economy and digitizing the human experience is doing is bringing us into this ideal self, and we need to figure out an articulation of how to exist between the ideal self, like this like world that exists that we can interact with, but it's not physical, and also our physical body. And you're seeing that play out in Web3 right now, where people are creating communities and we're creating this like this difference between the internet and whatever else, and also the physical world in which we can interact and understand. And we're not just posting, pictures of ourselves and being like, I have a great life, whatever else. Like I really think content creation is going to be something that a lot of people are going to be doing because it's a way to interact with this like secondary world we're creating, this like Web3. And it's definitely, you're going to see a lot more videos, a lot more interactions, a lot more content creation, and a lot more involvement in the creator space of Web3. And I think that a guy who coined it early on is Cooper Turley. He talked about the creator economy, and I think Justin Blau as well got behind that. And this creator economy is what we're really seeing right now in Web3, because we're able to take money, a digital space, expression, and capture it all, in which comes back and feeds our natural physical world.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people too, they kind of they judge themselves when I think of the idea of like content creation. Because like for me, like I'm not really doing anything overly processed. My whole desire was to kind of record the history of my stable and kind of the crazy ideas that I had early on that do or don't pan out. We all have our own tin hat theories, but kind
Oh
of
yeah.
give permission to people to kind of have those ideas and play with them, even if they do sound absolutely ludicrous. And then by having other people on, give them a safe place to start to tell their story. Because there's other stables that look just like them. There's other people who think just like them or behave just like them or, want to be involved in different ways, just like them. And I think, when we think about creator economy, it's more about sharing ideas. Like that's what's going on Twitter, right? Like it's a small
Yeah.
conversation, but I think you can also do that through recording a quick video or turning on a quick camera and stream. Like you said, you guys perform better when you guys just kind of wing it. Like
Yep.
that's because that's just your guys' style. And I think if people stop putting so much pressure and expectation on the outcome and just enjoyed the process of hitting record, messing it up, embarrassing themselves because they don't know what they're doing, and just kind of get through that, it really it's really empowering to a lot of people in ways that maybe they don't expect to.
Exactly. I mean, it's like this world, like we don't judge people really. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things happen in our brains, and communication, whatever else gets lost. But like in reality, hitting live and showing off what you think and whatever else, there's a lot more people like-minded as you, and
Mm-hmm.
the people that you can reach just going live and expressing yourself and having fun. You're going to find a lot more like-minded people than a lot more haters. And there are haters out there. There are people who didn't like us when we started off as Naruto Racing and what we were doing, and they didn't have to click on our stream. They didn't have to watch us. They didn't have to tune in again, right? And they probably didn't, and that's okay. But we created a community around this entertainment slash fun aspect of Zed that we were doing behind closed doors, that we're doing without the camera on. And
Right.
we wanted to show that off because we're like, hey, how many other crazy people are out there who like to do Zed? you know like
Turns out a lot.
it turns out there's a lot, like this is fun, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've seen the videos at bars and the videos of people playing it in front of their like friends and their family, and we know how exciting this is to be like, hey, like this concept of NFT is not a PFP. The NFT itself is data, right? And it can interact with systems differently than anything that's ever been created before. And by the way, it's immutable. Like it can be
Yeah.
changed depending on what different ERC that you have, but technically, really, it's immutable, which means that like it's forever going to exist there, and I can utilize that to play and interact differently within this digital space that no one's done before. And it's really beautiful to see what's coming out with projects and what's happening right now in Web3. And that's the reason why we changed our name to Metaverse Gaming. Um, Before there was a second game to play, by the way, we changed. We're Metaverse Gaming. We still play Zed. Like congrats. But we definitely saw that there's this isn't going to be the only game, and there's a lot of other games. And I would love to race horses 2-3 times a week, and other times I'd like to play the Red Village or race some cars. Or
Yeah.
I don't really like Axie. No offense to anybody who likes Axie, but there's other games coming out that are similar, that are playable, that just that's the genre I like to play of a video game. Um, and I think that the ability for your NFT to earn different NFTs, like a World of Warcraft style. I get tier gear, I get weapons and whatever else, and I work hours and hours and hours a day on this game, thousands of hours. I have 10,000 hours played in World of Warcraft. I think I have a ridiculous amount over 15 years. But
Yeah.
but like, what if I could capitalize on that and take these fractionalized NFTs off of this main one that earn these other NFTs and sell those because my time is worth something? I
Yeah.
think that sells a lot. If you played RuneScape, the party hat, that's basically a Bored Ape.
Yeah. I had all the masks. I didn't have a party hat though.
Oh man, the masks were dope too. The Halloween masks.
Yeah. I had full
Sheesh.
set.
Full set of Halloween masks. The OG game?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Dude, that was a lot. That was a lot of
Yeah.
money. I think I worked 2 years of my little childhood life to get a purple party hat, and then I
Mm.
got lured and PK'd.
Yeah. I got bored and didn't want a PK because I enjoyed it, but outside of my low level account that I went out there with, I decided to create one of those annoying level 3 accounts that had 99 in woodcutting and
Yeah,
mining and everything, and just went around and stole
skiller.
everybody's ore. Like I remember in Classic when you could just like click 1,000 times and walk away, and it would dump the ore on the ground before they
Yep,
upgraded to the 3D game where if your bag was full, you stopped mining. So like if you
yep.
clicked really really fast, you could literally mine for an hour and just collect experience, and then just like come back when your movie's over.
See, that's dope. We did. I still play from time to time, not very often, but I have in the new, not RS3, the new classic that came out probably like 6 years ago. I have a pure. He has 50 attack. He's a Granite Maul pure. 50 attack, 99 strength, 99 range, 99 HP, 99 magic. And then I have like my average total level. I think my average levels are like 75 in all my skills. And then I have like
Yep.
90 Slayer. And I'm really trying to get 99 Slayer. And it's like a 2 year task.
Oh
And
yeah.
I on a pure too. So there's no defense. I'm just literally out there like just trying to live. And
Yep.
I think there's 10 pures in the game that have 99 Slayers, so I'm trying to be the 11th.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you on that. And I think too, another thing about NFTs that people need to remember is if there's something you really like, don't care so much that nobody else does that you know. Because like there's projects that I own that are small that probably no one's ever going to care about, but I like that I own them. And like with other projects too, like I downloaded a game before I knew what NFTs were. It was a real estate simulator called Upland. Well,
I know
little
what
did
it
I
is.
know they were NFTs. I own 19 properties. I think I was one of the first 1,000 people to download the app, and now they're launching racing. And I just so happened to be slightly strategically positioned a game that was on my phone that I really didn't care that much about, but it was interesting enough to me to stick around a little bit. So like you never freaking know what's going to happen. Like I didn't know Pills was going to launch an entire ecosystem when I bought my first one, right? And then I sold it
Yep.
for a really bad Genesis horse. So we're not going to talk about that. But
Man, I'm
if you
like,
like an idea, stick
uh,
with it. It could be worth it.
in Pills before they did the Bioland and whatever else, we did a stream in December. And I think we covered the Red Village Bio Pills
Yeah, that
and
partnership.
some Zed Run stuff. And we did a 30-minute stream. We actually clipped a little video from it. We never posted on YouTube. But we're looking at rare pills from biopills like top 500, 600. They're 0.45, 0.5, right? And I was like, this is a great project to buy into. Look at these rare pills. Like, this is a great game. Look at the ecosystem. We went through the whole thing. And literally 2 weeks later, biopill floor went to like 1 ETH. And then like Bioland, I bought some land. That's now worth like 10 times its price. And I'm like, holy crap, guys. Like, these
I think
games.
Pills floor is
Great.
like 5 ETH now.
Oh, which one?
Pills, I think
Oh,
floor.
the rares. The rares are
No, I just
probably.
mean like just standard like floor. I think is like 5.
I think they're 1.2 for this, for like the just honestly garbage pills. But
Yeah.
for like the more rare ones or like the upper 2000, I think you're looking at between 3 to 5. I've seen the rare one that I covered it was sold for 6 ETH. So if you
Yeah.
decided to buy the pill that I was showing on the stream that day, 2 weeks later, you made like 5.5 ETH. So congratulations.
It's like the cool
But
cat that I minted for at mint price that I sold for for 1 ETH that then sold for 30 ETH.
oh, dude, that hurts. Okay, that's bad. It's okay.
But
I had 3 Bored Apes and a CryptoPunk, and
oh yeah.
let's not talk about it. Those were the three. I had an investment. I was like, either buy a Genesis Z3 or I buy these three things and this CryptoPunk. And I was like, Genesis Z3. Worst decision of my life.
It might play out differently with enough time though. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, my Z3 isn't bad.
See.
It breeds well. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
decent Z3. It's a winning Z3, but
Well,
it's
the
not.
breeding update just got announced today, like an hour ago. So
Right. Yeah, I was on the call with the Zed content creators, and they were like, "Yeah, this thing goes live in like." We're talking. I shouldn't say these other things, but we're talking, and I was like, "Yeah, it's already." John just posted it, and they're like, "Oh snap!" While
Yeah.
we're on the call, we're like reading the update. It's
yeah.
fun.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I know there's definitely some things here people didn't know about, and I'm happy I got to share that with the community.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for having me on. There's a couple other of us, not just me. I just have the most free time of the guys. But I'm definitely gonna try to get them on here as well, tell their story, what happened, how I convinced Brandino to get into Zed Run because he was flipping flipping stuff on Wall Street. So he was like, I don't know about NFTs, and I was like, nah, bro, like you gotta be a part of this space, and then how Remy came into play and how Prospect, Noah, and MJ came in. They came in December.
Yeah.
But there's each one of them have their own story. They have their own Web3 experience, and we're just super excited to be in this spot and to be creating content for everybody. And definitely look out for more stuff from Metaverse Gaming. We're not going away. We're just highly being strategic about what we're going to be putting out as a consistent schedule and for our streaming content and what we're building and working on.
I'm looking forward to it, man.